Hello, welcome to day 75 of our bowl previews. It's a lot of them, man. We're in the weeds now, baby. And this is once again your bowl preview series with the one and only Scott and Scott. I am Scott Steen, lead handicapper at winnersandwiners.com. I am joined as always by the one and only
Scott Rochelle, handicapper over winnersandwiners.com.
And together we do a show each and every day that we call Heading Back to the Window with Scott and Scott. So make sure you check that out, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, right there on the your favorite streaming platform, be that YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, or Facebook Live. And guys, I want to announce a exciting partnership that we've just entered with the buddies over at Caesar Sportsbook. You know the drill, first-time depositors, but this is a good one, Scott. First-time depositors, up to $1,001. They will match your bet, win, lose, or draw. Basically a free shot. This is a perfect way for new bettors who have not yet tried the app to get their feet wet and check out a really super deal. So here's the deal. You go to the Caesars app or you go to the online website. Check out the link in our show box. It is not actually in this show box. It is in our other show box of our daily show. So check it on YouTube. Open up that show box and you will find it there. Hit that link and you'll be good to go. You got to put in the promo code Video Winners. That will set you up. You'll get your opening match bet. Once again, win, lose, or draw. They'll match you up to $1,001. And you have to check the link in the show box. Make sure the offer is valid in your state. Of course, if you don't have sports betting in your state, probably not going to be valid there. Just saying. And of course, you must be 21 to play. No toddlers. We don't want any toddlers or tweens in there. You must be 21 to play. So enjoy that. Scott, we have the Taxslayer Gator Bowl here. This is a kind of a patchwork game as Rutgers is filling in for Texas A&M against the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Wake Forest is a 15-point favorite. 63 is the total. As we mentioned, A&M couldn't go because of COVID issues. Rutgers had was the 5-7 team with the highest APR. Scott, do you know what that is?
I know it involves GPA, but something.
Academic progress rate. Very good. That is the first criteria that programs use to decide who's going to go to the bowl game if they didn't get to 6 wins. I didn't know that's kind of like your tiebreaker. So Rutgers, Scott, really smart. Are they a good football team?
Not really, but they're going bowling. So, that's a step in the right direction, I guess.
Sure. Absolutely. This was not a great team at all. Passing attack was just about non-existent. They didn't get to $165 in any of their last 6 games. That's not good. And the Wake Forest defense, they can play a little bit of they're not a super stout unit, but they can cause some havoc in the backfield and they can create some turnovers. And speaking of turnovers, that's what Wake Forest is going to have to avoid. Hartman, good quarterback, but they will give up some picks and some fumbles. They had 13 turnovers in their last few games, 3 to Clemson, 2 to North Carolina, 3 more in a close call they had against North Carolina State. So they have to play mistake-free football or at least limit the mistakes. And their defense gives up over 200 yards rushing every single game. And that's what Rutgers is going to want to do there, Scott. They're going to have to take the ball away, and they're going to have to run the football to stay in this game. Do they have a chance to do it?
They got a shot. I'm not picking them. I'm going Wake Forest because Rutgers finished the season 5-7. You look at the wins that they had. They beat Temple. Temple is one of the worst teams in all of Power 5 schools. Beat Syracuse. Beat Delaware. So 3 non-bowl teams, Delaware, of course, being an FCS school. Beat Illinois. They're not very good. Beat Indiana. 2-10 overall. So they've really beaten up on some awful teams. And the 7 conference losses they had, most of them, if not all of them, were not close. 6 of the 7 losses came by at least 14 points. Translation, they should get buried by a team that is significantly better than them like they did in the regular season. Now, Wake Forest, of course, had to game plan a bit for A&M, and you have to wonder if they will be less motivated for this game because they have a significantly easier opponent on the horizon. I don't buy that because Wake Forest was on the verge of having one of the best seasons that it ever had in program history. It ended up losing in the conference title game to Pittsburgh. Game was close and the final score indicated. Hartman was kind of awful down the stretch. But the fact that everyone's playing in this game, or for the most part everybody, Wake Forest, I thought I would have a couple of people who either opted out for the draft or transferred. They did
Right.
not. So they're at relatively full strength. I am just not a big fan of this Rutgers team. So even if you think Wake Forest gives it 80% effort, that's probably enough. They might score 40-something points. Rutgers, anytime they break 20, has a parade. So
Yeah,
give me Wake Forest. I think they'll win this game by 17.
yeah, that's pretty true. You mentioned that they didn't do well against good teams, and just to extrapolate on that a little bit. 4 times this season they faced a situation where they were 13-point or better dogs. 3 of those 4 games they failed to cover the number. The only time they did is they did beat a 20.5-point line against Michigan, losing just by 7, which would probably be the highlight of their season, losing by 7 to Michigan on the road. You think that was probably their best?
The highlight of their season would probably be the phone call when they thought the season was over just to be here.
You've got a call from the governor. You've got a reprieve.
I am going to ask, though, was Rutgers practicing? I'm assuming not, because their season was over.
I wouldn't think so. No, I think it's Ferris Bueller. Like, go home. Why?
So I'm
aren't
saying you
still
took
here?
like an extra. Probably took a couple extra weeks off, because why would you be
Yeah.
practicing when it's the off season? You might be planning some recruiting trips. You get a phone
Right.
call saying, "By the way, we got a game in a week. You think you'll be ready? Yeah, we'll be there." Like I'm not sure Rutgers is in full. I don't want to say full game shape, but that's kind of the argument I'm making. If you're not expecting to play another game and you're not fully preparing mentally for a game, and you
Right.
randomly just have one that's thrown into your pocket, it's a cool scenario. I am worried about the prep time.
Well, here's my question, and I would like to know the answer to this. I'm sure with a little bit of research we could do this. I didn't actually think about this, but here's my counter to that, Scott. If you know that you've got the top APR and you know that COVID is raging right now in all sports, maybe you practice. Maybe you keep your guys ready to go until this week, because you're first up on the list. If anybody,
Maybe,
you're
but
first runner up. So I don't
it's
know.
possible.
That's a great question. I don't think it matters. I think this is a Wake Forest team that can score points in bunches. The one
I'm
thing
saying, what's the
Rutgers,
magic number? If Wake gets to 38, do you think Rutgers is going to get to 24? I don't.
no, I was going to say probably lower than that. I was going to say 31. But the Wake Forest defense, they've had their issues, so
Yeah.
it's going to be a battle of the week against the week here as the Rutgers offense goes up against the Wake Forest defense. So let's give them 21, Scott, and that's not a number that they have hit very often this season. They scored 61 against Temple, 45 against Delaware, and 38 against Indiana. That's been it. That's the only times they've been over 20 points. So let's give them 21, and I think that Rutgers or that Wake Forest, I think they put up 40 in this game in their sleep. So
They should. Just because Rutgers, to go through some of the defensive numbers, of course, Maryland's playing right now, and they're playing quite well, but they gave up 40 in the final game of the season, gave up 52 to Wisconsin. That was a home game, by the way. 52 to Ohio State. It's not exactly a pretty, let's just say, past couple of weeks for Rutgers' defense, but I do think motivation will.
Game. I think they had a gigantic halftime lead in that and called off the Dogs, if I'm not mistaken.
They did. I believe they had 40 points in the half.
That sounds right. Yeah.
But I do think there's going to be a bit of motivation, especially from Sam Hartman, because of the fact that last year's bowl game was an absolute mess because Hartman almost single-handedly blew the game for his team. He threw 4 interceptions.
Yeah.
And they blew a 14-point lead in the first quarter. So I do think Hartman will be motivated because he wants to bounce back, put up some huge numbers, probably win a bowl game MVP while he's at it. But I do think after losing last year, some players want to win a bowl game. Give me Wake Forest in a rout.
Total?
And 63. I'll take the over as well, but I'm not happy about it.
All right, I'll go the other way. I think
Wake might score 50. I can't take an under.
I get that. I totally get that. I think the defense shows up a little bit. I'm thinking 45-10, 45-13, something like that.
Okay.
They barely staying under the total. So, all right. So there you go. Just to recap, we both got Wake Forest minus the 15 points. We actually looked for a reason to pick Rutgers.
I'm rooting for Rutgers. It's a hell of a story.
Just couldn't do it with that defense. And that you talk about the motivation angle. This is a Wake Forest team that's had a great season, but if they lose this one, they'll always be known as the team that lost to the last second fill in. So,
yeah,
you lose to A&M, there's no shame there. You still had a great season. You lose to Rutgers, that's a different story. So,
and they didn't have the opt-outs, so I think that's also a good sign.
Yep, absolutely true. All right, that's going to do it for our preview here of the Taxslayer Gator Bowl. Scott and I both have Wake Forest minus the 15. I've got the under. He's got the over 63. You guys, we're just getting started for today. We got 3 more to go, including the 2 that you really want to see. So we're just about done with our vegetables. Scott, we got one more plate of peas to eat, and then we'll be on to dessert. You guys take care. We'll be right back around the corner with our bowl preview for bowl game number 32. Until then, you guys take care. Good luck on all of your plays.